Busy night in Congress last night. I think it still has to pass the House that we got a stimulus bill, checks for everybody, whoopee-doo. I'm supportive of the checks only because it's government's fault that people are out of work as opposed to them. But I think the government needs to get out of the way now. What do you think the chances are that actually happens?
Not good. I tell you, Leland, most of the lockdowns, I mean, I can't find a federal mandate to lock down and cause businesses to close. What I can find is a lot of state and local government interference that caused these lockdowns, these businesses to go out of business. We still see the persecution of businesses all around this country by states and local officials. But you know what? If we could just get out of the way, you know what the best stimulus is? Let America go back to work.
Yep.
Let us be free people again. Let us make choices and proceed on. And I think if we did, you would see this economy rebound very quickly.
Yeah, I do think maybe there's not a federal mandate, but I do hold the federal government responsible because they're the ones that are trotting out the experts that the crazy governors that are shutting their states down are using as cover. I think it's a coordinated effort. Maybe it's not a national federal mandate, which I don't think they could actually do. But,
right.
You know, I still hold the federal government partially responsible as a result of that. That being said, you're right. If government could just get out of the way and let businesses go back to doing what they were doing before, man, we were rocking and rolling with lower taxes and less regulation. We were showing what can happen when good conservative governments is in place.
No, you're exactly right there. I mean, first of all, the federal folks, Fauci and Birx, which I've been advocating they should have gone away a long time ago, they're just they were terrible and always wrong, and so was Redfield. But what we had was an economy that was just almost unparalleled. It was rocking and rolling at such a high level, and if we didn't have the COVID intervene, just imagine where we'd be today. We had more people working than ever, lower unemployment than ever. You had growth in the economy. You actually had real wage growth for the first time in 20 years. It was actually a dream economy, and now we've had all this interference by government trying to deal, in some cases, with very mistaken ideas on how to deal with the COVID, but. It's going to take a while to recover, I think.
How should we deal with it? Because it's one thing to criticize and say, hey, you know, we're doing the wrong thing. My personal feelings are that we knew 3 weeks in the best way to handle a virus that has a 99.5% recovery rate. And we know that 0.5% that struggles and that ends up passing away usually are very vulnerable citizens who we could then isolate and protect. The others we could say, put on a mask, get 6 feet apart, and do your business and go on about your business. I really think that was the extent of what we needed to do. And then do what Trump did, and let's get that vaccine out there as quickly as possible, which the media said he couldn't do, and now they're all celebrating it, showing themselves taking the vaccine on TV.
Yeah, no, that's exactly right. I mean, so we actually knew as this was emerging from China to here, we knew that the most, because we saw it in Italy, we saw it in other places, the most in danger, most in jeopardy people were certain demographics, age 75 and up, people with comorbidities. And those are the people that we could have used some selective protection for them. But the rest we could, you know, even the masking. I mean, I'm sitting in my desk. I keep both at home and Congress. I literally have hundreds of articles showing the inefficacy of masks. Even the N95 has very limited efficacy, and even then, it's only, you know, I don't want to get in the weeds, but there really is a virus is going to virus. And you have to understand that. So you have to have mechanisms for therapeutics. We restricted therapeutics. And 2 weeks after the election, the AMA came out and said, hey, you know what? That hydroxychloroquine
it does work.
And zinc and Z-Pax, it works. They waited till 2 weeks after the election to validate something President Trump had said 10 months before.
Right. Well, they did the same thing with the vaccine. They announced it after the election when they knew that it was going to be available before the election. Speaking of which, this is a good transition because I wanted to talk to you about meddling in the election by big tech. I don't know if you saw this story on Fox News last week, but Facebook and Twitter executives almost in 100% unison. Almost every single one of them donated the max to President Biden. President-elect Biden.
Oh my gosh, Leland.
But at the same time that they were actually suppressing major news stories about the Biden's family's alleged corruption. They were donating. I mean, I look at that and I got to go, was there a campaign finance violation here when you consider those companies were literally actively suppressing legitimate news stories, including a news story from one of the oldest newspapers in America that was founded by Alexander freaking Hamilton? They were suppressing that story. That is fishy to me.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I view those as potential FEC violations, and they should be investigated. But it also gets to the broader question of how do you deal with these high-tech companies that are basically operating with protections, number one, that were given to them, and number two, in ways that they kill their competitors. They try to kill their competitors. If they can't kill their competitors, they buy them out.
Yeah,
and so there's no real market-based way to get that resolved. So you have to resort to antitrust, FEC laws. You're going to have to start enforcing Section 230, remove their immunity, and let them be charged or sued if they allow and foster either censorship, which would protect people, or they censor and promulgate falsehoods against somebody else. So they basically allowed the Biden family, which I like to call a crime family, a crime syndicate. They were not even they wouldn't let that information out. So half the country still to this day doesn't know that there really is anything going on with the Biden family. All the only thing they know about is that Hunter Biden's going to have an art exhibition. That's what they know about the Biden family.
Yeah, and a lot of the people telling us that we can't open our businesses are going to be there with their cheese and wine.